All right, so we're going to go right into it. And this is, I think, something that, although we haven't been recording, this is something that we were just talking about or players that we were just doing before we went off. And that's rookies. And we'll be going over offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year selections. Charlie, who do you have as your offensive rookie of the year?
My offensive rookie of the year, this is a risky pick because I think this could go really well and it could go really badly, but I'm going to go away from the quarterback position. I'm going to go to Bijan Robinson.
That's exactly what I have.
This guy has the potential. I know he's playing for a pretty bad Atlanta Falcons team, but they've done a lot of rebuilding this season. So while last season they looked bad, they're my favorites to win that division, the NFC South. So I think Bijan Robinson will be at the forefront of that. I mean, we're looking at a guy who's going to be one of the top rushers in the NFL and has the potential to lead, the entire NFL in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns this season. I think we could see this guy go for 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns. Some crazy, insane stat lines we've never seen from a rookie. Have a Saquon Barkley type rookie season. I think this could be an explosive player. That's my offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, and I agree. And I damn it, I thought you guys were both going to like Bryce Young or a quarterback, so I tried to stray away. I have Bijan Robinson also for all those reasons. I think again, I wasn't a huge fan. I love the player. I think the fit's good. It just, to me, it's so unfair to Tyler Algier, who had a quietly really good season. But again, I think unfortunately Bijan will be that 3-down guy. Obviously Algier will get touches, but I mean Bijan Robinson, we obviously saw coming out of college, a guy who was, again, I think the best running back we've seen since Saquon Barkley when he came out of Penn State. I mean, this dude's explosive, really good at kind of everything, really good receiver, really obviously fantastic rusher, hard to tackle. He kind of has all the attributes that, those top rushers we see come in. And again, a guy who I think is going to explode in the league, and he's in a division that's not very strong. So especially those divisional games, I think this guy can run a riot. Like you said, they've done some rebuilding, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So I think you could be seeing a team that's the offense is on the field a lot more than we're used to seeing in Atlanta. But again, I think Bijan, to me, if you stray away from quarterbacks, is the out-and-out front runner to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think especially with an Atlanta Falcons offensive line that is very quietly, very underrated.
Yeah.
With guys like Chris Lindstrom, Caleb McGarry. He could really be one of the most efficient running backs in the league. And again, the only thing that I think could be holding him back from a kind of insane top 3 kind of running back season this year is just the fact that Aligier is also in the backfield and he's going to get a bunch of touches, especially considering I believe he ran for 1,000 yards
as
well that season. So, but I definitely think that's a good pick. I'm going to go with Bryce Young, which I think is a bit risky because quarterback is one of the most hardest positions to translate from college to the NFL, and it's very difficult. But I think other than the height, Bryce Young is, in my opinion, the closest thing to a sure thing we'll see from a quarterback prospect. He is really just so intelligent, so accurate. Great playmaker. We saw that at Alabama, despite not having the weapons that you're expecting from an Alabama team. So I think he's completely ready for the NFL. And I think Carolina are going to win this division, the NFC South, a weak division, but I think Carolina are a team that are built well in the trenches, a team that they kind of added a few weapons. They might not be as bad in that department as people think, and I think Bryce Young is going to be that guy that from day one, even as a rookie, is going to elevate them. And I think if Carolina win the division and go into the playoffs, Bryce Young will win Rookie of the Year. So I have him as my offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Bryce Young's a tough one for me because I feel like I actually don't agree. I think he's going to struggle in his first year, and again, I wouldn't be somewhat. Again, I don't think it'll be like a struggles his first year, give up. I think he's going to obviously most of the good quarterbacks get drafted first overall. You're going to a team that's not very good.
Carolina did trade up though, so it's not.
But I think Carolina traded up. I think I would argue. Yeah, I was going to say I would argue they're worse than the Bears, even though they traded up. But the Bears are very bad. That's a tough argument. Again, you lose DJ Moore. To me, it's the weapons. Obviously, you don't have McCaffrey anymore. You lose DJ Moore. I think you're looking. You got to get a good season out of Terrace Marshall, and besides that,
you got Thielen. They did draft Jonathan Mingo in the draft.
Mingo was a guy who rose quickly. Thielen, I didn't love. I thought the contract was way too big for a guy who was not very good. Or not like the Thielen we know past 2 seasons.
Laviska Shenault's also
Laviska Shenault.
So.
Shi Smith.
Yeah, there are some players.
They're like okay
weapons. Yeah,
I
but
think it's not like terrible enough. Like they don't have NFL receiver levels. They just don't.
Yeah,
have,
I just think for Bryce Young,
receiver one.
It's going to be like a Trevor Lawrence. Like Trevor Lawrence was obviously very poor his first season. We saw him last year. Fantastic. They go out, get him weapons. Again, I agree. Christian Kirk and some of those other guys weren't the ideal weapons we thought, or the weapons that are like those Calvin Ridleys who they now have, or going getting DeAndre Hopkins. But to me, for Bryce Young, I love seeing the young quarterbacks having those receivers that are good, the established receivers. Like, we don't know if Mingo's good. Terrace Marshall obviously has not made a name for himself. So, again, that's what I worry about, and I guess you could say it's a casual take, but Bryce Young, for me, not having those super tall, really good physical build.
I'd say Marshall kind of fits that physical build.
No, I'm saying Bryce Young himself doesn't have that
Bryce
physical
Young,
build,
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
not like not that he can't fend for himself, but if he takes more hits, if he has a smaller build where he's a little more fragile.
I think the offensive line will do a good job of protecting him, and more importantly, I would say a huge difference between Trevor Lawrence's situation as a rookie and Bryce Young's situation is that Trevor Lawrence had Urban Meyer as his head coach, and then Bryce Young's going in with Frank Reich, which is even though he did get fired from the Colts, he's still a great offensive mind, especially for a young quarterback. I think he's gonna. Again, I don't think he's gonna be amazing, but I think if he leads his team to the playoffs first year as a rookie, which I think so, especially in a division that isn't that strong. I think Atlanta are a solid team, but I just don't think it's that great of a division. So I think Carolina will win it. I think if they win the division, I think Bryce Young wins Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think where I agree with Keane on this one is I think Bryce Young will look really good. The eye test, he'll pass the eye test in this first season because we know what Bryce Young can do. Everyone knows it. I worry the numbers just aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
The numbers are going to be really hard to come by. I think this is going to be, even without Christian McCaffrey, a very heavy ground and pound attack because you have a rookie quarterback who's unproven and you have not great receiving core. You don't have a wide receiver 1. Adam Thielen is an aging wide receiver 2 at best.
Yeah.
I think this could be a very down season number. I could see Bryce Young not even breaking 3,000 yards this year. I can see it happening.
It's tough.
If he's healthy, I think he does.
I don't doubt the health. I just think that he might only throw the ball 18 times a game.
Yeah.
20 times a game.
I think down the stretch you'll see him throw the ball more. I think
as they start getting more confidence in him, we will. But I think the first few weeks of the season, it could be 15 throws, 20 throws, just because this is not a very good offense.
Yeah, I agree. But I think this is actually where I agree with Serge. I think when you look at Bryce Young's player profile, he's a guy who, like, just because it's Bryce Young, like, he has the gunsling, he can place the ball anywhere. Like, for Mac Jones, for example, when he's going to his rookie year, it's like, okay, maybe he doesn't go 3,000 because Mac Jones isn't like he was, I guess, kind of a older style quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think Bryce Young, just the gunslinger ability in him will give him those 3,000. I think he would get 3,000 yards on most NFL teams.
I think the Panthers are one exception to that.
And I agree. I think that's a good point. I think, again, it's tough for me because I feel like there are obviously some receivers. Like, Jonathan Mingo might be great. Terrace Marshall was really good coming out of college. He might be great.
Laviska Shenault,
really good, weapon. Gadget weapon. The offensive line, you have a really good tackle in Ikem Ekwonu who will hopefully be able to protect his right side. Yeah, Brady Christian was really good. They have 2 younger tackles. So I think if you look at, I think that was a great point. I think he'll pass the eye test. But yeah, I agree. I think the numbers might not be there, but
yeah, I don't think he'll throw a lot of touchdowns. I think this is going to be an offense mainly based around trickery.
Yeah.
I think with a guy like Laviska Shenault in your offense, they're going to be using him. I mean, he's probably the most talented player in that offense. I mean, I'm not looking at Bryce Young.
Mingo. I do like Mingo.
But I'm looking at someone like Mingo and I'm looking at someone like Shenault, and I'm thinking there are going to be a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of designed wide receiver runs, screen passes, which may count for his passing yards.
A lot of RPOs, we'll see.
Lots of RPOs, and I think Bryce Young, the stats just won't look pretty.
Though, I feel like with his play style as a playmaker in those RPO systems, I think he will, even with, it could be a situation like with the Giants where we know they don't have great receivers, but because of Frank Reich.
But that's where I think that Bryce Young will easily pass the eye test, but the numbers won't look pretty, and that diminishes his chances of winning Rookie of the Year.
I don't think he'll be like that bad. No. I think he'll be a very.
I think we're both saying the same thing.
I don't think he's throwing 4,000. I don't think that.
Yeah.
But he could.
I just think it'll be an underwhelming number 1 overall pick season. I think he'll throw right around 3,000 yards, maybe scratch 20 touchdowns. I mean, maybe. I'm thinking he could have a season where he throws 1 touchdown per game and 1 interception per game. Like, I just think that could be something that happens.
Yeah, but I think we're both saying that. I think you're both saying the same thing. It's just Surge is a little more.
I agree. Just more optimistic about the Panthers offense. And
I think at the end of the day, neither me and Charlie obviously are not saying that this guy is going to be a bust, but I do think that it might be a little bit of a learning curve in his first season, which every NFL quarterback has.
No,